Hi, my name is Dr. Sarah Lynn. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and today's video I'm sharing with you my journey and struggle with chronic eczema. Individuals with eczema have an impaired skin barrier. There can be like a structural genetic mutation that causes a decrease in filaggrin. When you have eczema and something that's physical on the skin as a teenager, it's just really hard. I don't know, I always thought that it was my fault. This is a video that I've been wanting to do for a while now. Basically, ever since I started my channel, I knew this was a video that I wanted to make and to share. It's basically also where I want to spend a lot of the focus on future videos, is have it be a lot of natural skincare and dermatology. I'm still going to be posting, recipe videos and traveling and camping and all that, and just some other naturopathic things in there as well. My journey is something that's impacted my life a lot. I think it's helped shape the person I am today, and I definitely don't think I would be a naturopathic doctor if it wasn't for my personal struggle with eczema. So let's start at the beginning, and I think another reason why I haven't made this video is because I feel I like to be kind of organized when I create a video, and I'm not sure how the organization of this is going to flow. I have a little bit of an idea, so I apologize if it seems a little bit all over the place, but I'll try to do my best to share my story of how I healed my eczema naturally. So let's start in the beginning. I don't remember early on in my childhood having too much eczema. I probably had some patches here and there. I do remember having some like on my elbows and behind my knees when I was younger, but it wasn't anything I really thought about too much, and it didn't really bother me when I was real little. There was one time that I had this massive outbreak. Hold on. The phone. Okay, sorry about that. So where was I? I kind of lost my train of thought. So I was telling you about the time when I was about, I can't remember exactly, 7, 8, or 9. I'd have to ask my mom for sure. I had been playing outside, and basically I think I was rolling around in the grass. We had a little bit of a hill, so it was fun to like roll down it. And I got these massive hives. They were like this big, several of them all over my body, and they were super itchy, really uncomfortable, and really scary as a kid. I didn't really know what was happening at the time. Yeah, I told my mom, and she told me to take a cold shower. I took a cold shower and just to like lie in bed, and that actually helped a lot. They did go away pretty quick after that, but it was pretty shocking that I had that strong of a reaction. I also do have a history when I was little of like hay fever, so I would get pretty bad allergies in the springtime. I also had a bout of asthma when I was younger, and I had been on an inhaler for a little bit of time, but I kind of outgrew that. Basically, I've kind of always had kind of a hypersensitivity, I guess, and some signs of allergies. We didn't really visit doctors much growing up, and my parents tried to do things more naturally, even when we were little. And then skip ahead I'll just skip ahead to high school. It was the summer before my sophomore year of high school. I had this really bad flare-up of eczema, and so I was homeschooled all the way up until 8th grade. I finished 8th grade being homeschooled, and then I went to a private Christian high school my freshman year. And that year, I remember having really nice, clear skin. I didn't really have any problems with it at that time, maybe a little bit of dryness here and there, but nothing major. I was pretty shy as a kid and into my adulthood, but the school load was actually pretty easy for me. Overall, it was an easy transition, and I felt like the homework load was easier too than when I was being homeschooled. So that wasn't an issue. And then, it was the summer before my sophomore year. I had this big outbreak, and just really itchy, uncomfortable, just all over my arms, my neck, even I think my stomach and my legs. And it was just uncomfortable to move like my joints. I just remember being like in pain from that. And my mom took me to our family chiropractor. We didn't see any conventional doctors, and he did muscle testing on me for different foods that I was sensitive to, and he also recommended several different supplements. All of that really helped. It took a little bit of time. Anytime you do something naturally, it's not going to be real quick usually. I also remember having this really bad outbreak around my mouth. It was like, it could have been impetigo at the time, but I wasn't diagnosed with that. But it was kind of like these really vesicles that were fluid filled, and they would kind of crust over. That I remember I had eaten, I think that was a reaction to sugar too, made it really bad. I remember having this, I think it was a really sugary like smoothie, like a Jamba Juice smoothie, and then the next day I had that. So I remember doing like avoiding sugar, and just there were just several foods that I couldn't eat anymore. Most of them were like highly processed inflammatory foods. And that really seemed to help a lot, but it did take some time. I remember going back into that fall into my sophomore year of high school, and I was on the volleyball team, so we would wear shorts and t-shirts, and I just remember some of my friends noticing and asking me about like, oh, like what happened? And at the time I was really embarrassed by it. I didn't want anyone to notice and think that my skin was different or that I wasn't pretty or popular, all those things. Going through puberty and just like, you know, just different changes, and I just remember being very shy too. And it was definitely tough. It made me even basically more shy, where I wanted to just cover up my skin so people wouldn't notice. I just didn't want to draw any more attention to myself, especially attention from boys. I was super shy. I didn't want to date anyone. I didn't want anyone to notice me. And I just wanted to keep my head in a book and just study and focus on sports. That's pretty much what I did. I do think having eczema, I think I did kind of hold myself back even from friends a little bit. And, yeah, I'm already getting emotional just because I have a tissue because I knew I was going to cry in this video. It just, when you have eczema and something that's physical on the skin as a teenager, it's just really hard. You're forming your like self-identity, and if you're identifying as a person with less than perfect skin and something that people can visibly see, it just kind of, for me, it decreased my self-esteem and self-confidence, and it was just a difficult time, but I did get through it. I got all A's, and I was the salutatorian of my high school, and I gave a speech, and I remember being really proud of that, of being able to give a little speech in front of all my peers. And by the time I was a senior, my skin was definitely improving a lot. I was really ready to leave high school and go to college, go to a new city, make new friends, and just I felt like it was a fresh start where people didn't know me as like having eczema and being like a really shy girl. I just wanted a fresh start, and so I was really excited for college for that. And during college, I don't really remember having many flare-ups. I think I did have some from time to time, but I felt like I was able, some of those foods that I had eliminated back in high school, I was able to reintroduce some of those, and it seemed like I could tolerate them. I was still, mainly focused on eating a lot of fruits and veggies and just more natural sources of animal products, trying to do more organic and just have like a cleaner diet overall. But I wasn't, at that time in college, I wasn't really avoiding anything 100%. So I felt like I kind of had a good handle on it. Fast forward, then I graduated college, and then I went to naturopathic medical school. I just want to post some photos of kind of some outbreaks I had this was more in naturopathic medical school, and this is what my skin was looking like. And at this time, it was really when I started more to get into the root cause of eczema and learn more about the pathogenesis of eczema. It wasn't wasn't something that I really ever knew much about, and no one had really explained it to me. And I think that's something that I wish doctors would do more, is explain more of the pathogenesis, because I feel like it gives you, I don't know, it gives you more understanding and kind of more power. And I love that about being a naturopathic doctor, is really trying to educate my patients and give them the tools to like help heal themselves. So let's just touch on that briefly. There's 4 main things I'm going to cover right now. So one is having a genetic predisposition, which means you have family members that have had eczema or psoriasis or some other sort of eczematic disease, and that can just put you at a higher risk of having that as well. But of course, that isn't everything. There's going to be different genetic factors and agents that are going to contribute to someone getting it or not. Yeah, so I have that on both sides of my family, a couple of different skin stuff, psoriasis, eczema. So I was definitely at a little bit greater risk. Individuals with eczema have an impaired skin barrier. So one thing that can impact this is having a decreased amount of filaggrin, which is a protein that's important for maintenance of your skin as well as preventing water loss. So there can be like a structural genetic mutation that causes a decrease in filaggrin, and this can be part of the pathogenesis. And then with that impaired skin barrier, there's also some dysfunction in your lipid metabolism, which causes reduced ceramides in your skin. So that's why a lot of times doctors will recommend a lotion or cream with ceramides to kind of help replace the decreased amount of ceramides in your skin to keep the moisture in your skin. So with eczema, there's a dysfunction of immune system in your skin. So with this, there's going to be a higher production of Th17 is what we see, as well as interleukin 17. And the immune system is pretty complex, and I don't want to go into too much detail because that's not really the focus of this video. But basically, your immune system is producing a lot more of these inflammatory cytokines and chemicals that are causing this reaction, that's causing that redness and the itchiness and just the dryness and everything that's kind of associated with eczema. So that is related to an inflammatory sort of immune system response. And then with that, there's 4 main types of hypersensitivity of your immune system. So a lot of time in eczema, we see type 1 hypersensitivity, which is an IgE mediated response. With that, there's a degranulation of your basophils, which is a type of white blood cell. And that degranulation is producing mast cells, producing cytokines and other interleukins and all that. So that's just kind of another pathway that it's causing this inflammation and immune system reaction. I just wanted to touch on that because for me, that was like really helpful to learn that, you know, with eczema, your skin is just different, and it's not like, I don't know, I always thought that it was my fault. It was just, so it was just powerful to learn that there was this pathogenesis happening in my skin, and it wasn't my fault. And so if anyone else out there, you know, felt like me that, you know, this eczema is your fault, I just want to tell you that it's not your fault that you have eczema. But that doesn't mean that there aren't things that, of course, that you can do to help heal your skin and your eczema. So, okay. With that understanding, I felt like for me it was empowering, because then I was like, oh, okay, I know there are things that I can do to treat this root cause, and all those things that I mentioned just now, none of them are irreversible. You can reverse some of those processes and just heal them so that your body's not reacting that strongly and having that much inflammation. So there are a lot of things that you can do. The other thing that impacted me too, I remember in naturopathic school seeing a provider, a naturopathic doctor there, is having someone else who is a doctor share their story. I don't know, it just provided me hope of being like, oh, this doctor has had it too, and she's been able to heal. And I don't know, I just think it's important for people and healthcare providers, just, I don't know, to have that vulnerability with a patient. For me was really powerful. So yeah, moving on back. So where are we now? We're back in my naturopathic school, and I started seeing some naturopathic doctors there. I actually did a food sensitivity test and found out that I was really highly reactive to sugar cane, and so I eliminated all processed sugars, and even so much as like in things that weren't really supposed to be sweet, like bread products, pizza dough, a lot of them will have sugar in the crust, or sauces, condiments, dressings, crackers, just any chips. I was eliminating it from everything because I was so reactive to it, and that really helped a lot. And then eventually I also did eliminate gluten completely. I noticed that when I was eating more gluten that I would get like hive reaction after that, which would make my eczema worse too, because then I was itching and all that. So for me, I noticed eliminating gluten really helped too. I was doing those changes with my diet, and then eventually I also eliminated dairy. That one took me a lot longer because I noticed a lot of improvement just by eliminating sugar and gluten. But eventually I did eliminate some dairy too. I want to show some more pictures and just talk about those for a little bit. I had just this one really bad reaction where it was a lot of like really red itchy little bumps and just redness all over my neck and like arms and chest and stomach and into my legs. It almost felt like it covered my whole body and my face a little bit too. I never really had a lot of eczema on my face, but I think this time I did have some on my face, and it was just more so than anything, it was just really uncomfortable just to move. It felt like there was like a rawness to my skin, and it literally felt like I was missing a layer of skin. Like it just felt so uncomfortable, and it's almost, now thinking about it, it's like a visceral reaction. It was just so uncomfortable. That was really tough because I felt like, oh, I'm a naturopathic medical student. I should know how to like do this already and treat it naturally now, but it's just something that took a long time, and there was a lot of stress in naturopathic school because my workload was so much higher. I had so much studying to do. I didn't have as much personal time. That was a pretty big transition actually. So I had to learn a new sort of study to personal life balance and all of that. That eventually cleared, and I remember too, for the longest time with eczema, after I had cleared it, that I still had like patches of hypopigmentation. So after the eczema had cleared, and that lasted for a long time, especially I had it all over my legs, and I'll show you some pictures here too, where the skin was clear and it was smooth and it didn't feel dry, but I just had these patches of like hypopigmentation where, there was a lot lighter patches of skin, especially when I would go outside and I would get tanner. Those patches wouldn't really tan much, and that also just took a long time to heal, and I think that's kind of natural and or that's kind of normal and happens like that. But eventually I think the less I thought about it and just went on with my normal life, that the quicker it healed. And that's kind of also where I did get more into like the mind-body connection and just how I was feeling about my skin, because I put a lot of identity into having eczema and just like what that meant, I guess. I really started doing this journey of self-care and really loving my skin and just accepting my skin for what it was, and knowing that I was treating my body better, and I was giving it healthy foods and enough water, and I was trying to manage my stress, and I was getting more into meditations and yoga, and like all this stuff was really helpful, and getting a good amount of sleep. I actually ended up in school, I was on a 4-year track, but then I did a massage therapy training program, and so I switched to the 5-year track for naturopathic school, which was a lot better. I had more balance. I was able to work part-time doing massage therapy, which was something that I really loved at the time, and I still do that. I still do some massage therapy now and enjoy it, but it was just, for me, it was definitely the right choice because it gave me more balance in life, and yeah, it gave me more time to really focus on myself and like my own healing journey, because I obviously wasn't done healing. With that, all of that sort of stress management and mindfulness, I was more so than that, I was really looking into just how I felt about my skin and being okay with how it was and not hiding my skin anymore or covering up. And I think for me, that was a huge step in healing. And I do get emotional about it because sometimes I wish I would have known that or done it sooner. But obviously, you know, everything happens for a reason. And more so than anything, I'm really grateful now for my skin and everything it's taught me. Like I said earlier, without that experience, I wouldn't have become a naturopathic doctor, and I don't think I would have done this whole natural lifestyle shift and just like a shift in like really loving myself and yeah, just caring for myself. So I'm really grateful for that. And I guess, I don't know if you want more specifics on this topic, and I could do a whole nother video on this. It's kind of related to positive affirmations, but it goes kind of deeper beyond that, where I wasn't trying to say something that I didn't believe was actually true. I was really just being like, oh, it's okay for how my skin is. And it's one of those things where you can like be so hyper focused on some imperfection about yourself, but other people aren't gonna probably notice that. Definitely not as much as you're gonna notice that about yourself, because that's how sometimes just how we are as humans. We're more focused on ourselves versus other people. So I think also realizing that nobody cares that much if I have a little patch of eczema and I'm wearing a tank top or shorts. It doesn't really matter. What matters is just how I feel about myself, and just letting me be me and letting my skin be how it is. And yeah, I think that's been the biggest thing. Even the last 2 years, really, I feel like I've done a lot of work on that, more so than I ever have. And I used to always get pretty bad flare-ups in the wintertime, which is common just because the air is a lot drier, and that sort of the dryness and lack of sun and the coldness, all of those can kind of trigger eczema to get a little worse. There can be more dryness in the skin, and then when there's more dryness, it's more itchy, and it kind of does that whole itch scratch cycle. So even just the last 2 winters, I've noticed that they haven't gotten bad. And even now, having a lot of, just starting the fall and the winter here in the Pacific Northwest, my skin has still been less flare-ups and just more normal. And I think that's just because I've accepted my skin how it is. And sometimes, I still will get tiny little patches here and there, but it's like, it's not as big of a deal. I just know like, oh, that's my body and that's my skin telling me something that, hey, if I'm eating too much sugar, now I have reintroduced gluten back into my diet so I can tolerate some gluten. But if I eat too much, just basically too much processed foods, or like, too much alcohol combined with that, high stress, like all these things will still trigger me. And I think these things are just naturally gonna trigger anyone to have some level of inflammation in the body. And so basically it'll show up in the body differently in different people. Some people who eat a lot of processed foods, like it could be something internally happening that they don't see outside on the skin. Like it's going to be causing some sort of process to be happening in your body. And so for me, it's just, in a sense, it's kind of lucky, I guess, that it's on my skin. And so I know that to me, it's just a signal that, okay, I can't do that. It's not healthy for me to do that for a long period of time. And so yeah, I just now take that as a sign to like get back on track. But I'm still not too worried about it, and even more so, I think it's also the biggest stress or the biggest trigger now for any sort of outbreak of eczema. or flare up is stress. And so more so it's like me taking a look internally and being like, okay, how am I feeling right now? What's going on? And just taking all that in and realizing that everything is okay and everything's gonna work out how it should. And you know, it's normal to have these stressors come into your life. Everyone has them. They can, you know, and sometimes they're big stressors and sometimes they're smaller stressors. But what you do have control over is how you react to that stressor and how you respond to it. You don't need to get super worked up about something when these stressors come. You can still think about it and respond in a normal way without getting too stressed and overwhelmed, and you know, asking for help when you really need it, or you know, giving yourself little breaks when you need them as well, and little self check-ins, and of course maintaining your self-care, and whether that's focusing a little bit more on your diet and caring for yourself with the foods that you eat, making sure you're getting exercise, giving yourself that sleep that you really need, and just even finding something to do every day that you do enjoy. And it could be something for as little as 5 to 10 minutes, just giving yourself that time and whatever you're doing to just really try to focus with that and being like, I really enjoy this and this feels good. And I think overall you're going to be able to respond to those stressors in a way that's healthier and that feels better. Yeah, that's that. I would say that overall my two biggest important things for me for healing eczema naturally is diet and nutrition, and then that stress management side of things, and just that the whole mental and emotional connection there is with your skin and your skin health. So those have been my two biggest things. And I just wanted to share this video, just if there can be any words of encouragement to someone who is struggling with eczema, that you can ask your doctor some of these questions, and a lot of conventional doctors might not know the answer, so maybe that's time to seek a holistic healthcare provider and to try some natural approaches. But there's so much you can do with diet and with your mental and emotional health too. Yeah, I'm trying to think of if there's anything else to really share here. I will say it was definitely hard going through all that, but I'm really grateful for it, and I felt like I had this story to share, and it doesn't really do me any good to keep it to myself, because if there's even just one person who will get something from this video and be an encouragement, then I want to offer that to someone. So yeah, I have no idea how long this video is gonna be, and maybe I'll do a part 2 as well, but I think that's gonna be it for now. I definitely do want to do more videos, and I can do more videos on like more specific things that I've done, but yeah, that's just kind of some general things to get the ball rolling here, and some ideas that you can find true healing from your eczema. That's my story. I can't believe I finally made this video. There's probably some stuff I'm forgetting, so if you do have a lot of questions, then I can definitely do a part 2 video answering questions if you guys end up having any. It's something that, yeah, I really do like to talk about, even if I do get emotional. It's just been a journey. So feeling really good now, and I do want to just do like a little skin update. So I used to have a lot of eczema on my neck, and sometimes I still do get some flare-ups there, but it's really been pretty minimal. And then my arms, I do have a little bit of discolor or lighter color there, but nothing like what it used to be. And this is just kind of my arms now. And my hands, I used to get a lot of eczema on my hands. I have a tiny bit right there at the moment, just probably because it's the winter time. And I also used to get dyshydrotic eczema on my palms. And that's totally all cleared up on both of my palms. And yeah, my skin here is pretty clear on this hand. Occasionally I will get eczema on my wrist, but that's pretty clear at the moment. So, yeah. I can't think of anything else to say. Maybe when I'm editing I might think of some more things, but I hope that this video was helpful. I've never done a video like this before, obviously, and I'm not exactly sure how people do them, but yeah. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.